Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunday morning and the Keeping It Real Caregiving Sunday Coffee Chat and Support. I am your host, Julia Yarbo. Good morning, and I hope that some of you are able to join. And why? Because I am terrible at actually promoting my own event. So I hope that some of you are actually out there and can pop in. And if not, this will be recorded and saved for later use. So with that, I'm going to change my screen a little bit here. And I am there. There I am. Yes. Okay. I'm going to do this though, but I'm still going to leave my little logo up. So good morning. The 12 of you, according to the icon, it says that 12 people are on the show this morning. So thank you very much for joining. Again, I'm your host, Julia Yarbo, and I'm coming to you live from Northern California. And this is Keeping It Real Caregiving Sunday Coffee Chat. This morning, we're going to do just 30 minutes because I know how busy we all are as caregivers, right? We don't have a lot of time. We're thinking about all the 50 million things that we need to do every single day to take care of our loved ones and take care of ourselves. So I'll just go ahead and dive right in. For those of you just joining, my name's Julia Yarbo. I am a career broadcast journalist. I am now also a communications consultant, but the reason that I do Keeping It Real Caregiving and have created this platform is that I spent more than 20 years as a family caregiver to my elderly mother, who has now since passed. But my mother faced challenges with Parkinson's disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension. And in the last 5 years of her life, she lived with me here in Northern California. And so I had the opportunity to understand firsthand, up close and personal, what it means to be a family caregiver. So I learned a great deal about navigating insurances, navigating medical care, navigating the emotions of my mother, and then, of course, my emotions in terms of having to do the hands-on daily taking care of my mom. So that's my background. And Jean Nicole Rice, thanks for being here. You probably understand exactly what I'm talking about. And so this morning, what we're going to talk about, and I really hope that any of you can chime in. Oh, I should also mention that I lost my mother in 2020. So coming up on almost 2 years. We lost mom in September of 2020. Luckily for her, she really wanted to reach the age of 90, and she did. So that was nice. And but it's still sad that I don't have my mom with me any longer. Okay, I'm clicking around to my different slides here. So what I wanted to talk about today, and I wrote about it in a piece earlier this week on the Keeping It Real Caregiving Bulletin newsletter, if you didn't happen to see it. So I was having coffee with a friend last week. And she too is a family caregiver to her mother. And she said, sometimes mom is just really mean to me. And she said, it hurts. It hurts me because I'm doing all of this to help her, to care for her. And she's mean to me. And I thought, yeah, I think many of us who have been a family caregiver, we have experienced that. And so I don't have a doctor on my guest list today or any sort of emotional background, but that's the topic that I wanted to just throw out there and see what other experiences all of you have had. I will share with you a story from my background. My mom, I love my mom to death. I shouldn't say that word actually, and I miss her every day. But sometimes my mom could be a little sharp, right? And even growing up, she was a little sharp. And so as we evolved into the role of family caregiver, for me, taking care of mom, and then of course, mom having to let go of some of her control because she was older and she couldn't just handle everything herself. There were times when mom would say some pretty sharp, cutting things. And I had to remind myself, okay, calm, Julia. Your mom's getting older. She has a lot of health issues. I don't know how she's physically feeling because, she has a lot of medication in her system. Maybe that's impacting how she feels, and she's tired, she's cranky. I'm going to take a pause and say good morning to everybody. Michael, good morning. Thanks for joining from South Florida. We need to connect so that we can do more of this on each of our platforms. Trina Hancock, thank you for joining us as a family caregiver as well. And Natasha Griffin, also a family caregiver. Thank you all for joining this morning. And again, pipe in if you've had this experience and want to share something. I'm going to split my little screen here also so that I put the little icon up. Yeah, there we go. So I can recall times when my mom would just be kind of nasty. And then I would say to myself, I don't know what it feels like to be 87, 88, 89, and knowing that you don't feel well, that you have health issues, that you're on medication, that you have to give up some of your independence and have a family member help care for you, and so I would step back and say, you have to put yourself into your mother's shoes and realize that sometimes maybe the things she's saying and doing, it's nothing about me, meaning all of us as caregivers. It's not about us. It's about them being frustrated, not feeling well, knowing that they're entering the third of their lives, and being afraid, quite frankly. I can't imagine what that would feel like. And again, welcoming everybody this morning. April, thank you for joining in, caring for your mom. Kudos to Jenna Marie, for all of us. Sheila, caregiver for 94-year young mother. I love that. I want to hear a little story. Be sure to pop in and share anything unique about the person that you care for as well, because I want this conversation to be somewhat positive and maybe share some stories. And so in my last newsletter, I shared with you that really when I think about it in terms of how sometimes people can be mean, this particular friend that I was talking to said that mom just made her feel like she really wasn't welcome there in her home. And it made her almost want to cry because she had given up her time. She had moved to be with her mom. She was living in a very tiny space within her mom's home. And so it's hard. And I recall back years ago, so this would have been maybe 2011, 2012, and somebody who was very close to me, his mother was a family caregiver for her elderly mother. And at that time, I didn't really have a good sense of what this whole caregiving thing was about. Like, I knew my mom was getting older, but I didn't really understand it. And so that's why I wanted to talk about all of this. And I remember, asking this friend's mother, how she manages, because she had no one else to help her care for her elderly mother, who was just referred to as grandma. I never did know this elderly woman's name. But she was very old. She was very ill. She was housebound. She was wheelchair bound. And this friend's mother had to do everything for her elderly mother. And I could tell that it was very overwhelming to her. And we were talking one time, and literally she started crying. And she said something to the effect of that she was afraid for when her mother would pass, because she had spent so many years as a caregiver, that she was afraid of, well, who am I? What will I be after mom's gone or grandma is gone? Because she didn't even know anything else. And then she said, her mother was mean sometimes. And I witnessed it once. This woman was just like, just very nasty to her daughter. And I thought, that's interesting, because her daughter manages her food. She makes sure that she's clean. She gets her up in the morning. She combs her hair. She does everything for her. And this woman, quite frankly, was really nasty to her. And I thought, I don't know if I would have the patience for that. I'm like, you better be careful, old woman, because your daughter, she controls everything. You better be glad that she's nice. And then my friend's mother shared a story, and she said, oh, that's just grandma. She says she's been like that her whole life. This one time she yelled at me and almost pushed me downstairs. And I thought, okay, that is like crazy, insane, being mean, right? But it kind of went to the point of, is that abuse, or is that just somebody being nasty? And as caregivers, where do we draw the line of somebody not respecting our feelings, not respecting who we are as individuals? And I'm not saying that anybody who is in our charge has to, kowtow to us and be, oh, so thankful that you're caring for me. It doesn't have to be that. But, I'm just curious, those of you who are on the call this morning, or on our show, I should say, and welcome Connie and Angela. Love to work on weeks and not every weekend. I've been in this field for 10 plus years. So Angela, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your morning. And Mark, good to see you here. I know you're doing wonderful things for your mom. So kudos to you. So jump in the chat and share with me how some of you have handled if the person you're caring for has been mean to you. I would love to hear some of what has happened, how you navigated through that. I know for me, other friends would say, man, Julia, you have the patience of a saint. And I didn't always. I can tell you some of those things stung. I remember them years later. I think, I tried to meet my mom where she was. And I think that's something that I really want to remind all of you who are in those moments where you're just pulling out your hair thinking, what am I going to do? How do I get through this? Mom or dad or aunt or uncle or whoever is not being nice to me. What do I do? And so jump in the chat. I want to hear from you guys and see how you have handled anything and maybe some advice for others who are going through it. I will share with you a story that I recall from many years ago. And Jenna Marie, thanks for jumping in there. I'll actually pop up your comment first, and then I'll share my story. So Jenna Marie says, for me, I was hurt, but remembered it was her disease and not that she is a mean person. I know my mom was confused with being confused. And, you make a good point. And like I said at the start of this morning's show, I'm not a doctor. I don't have a medical background. So I didn't want to delve too much into the mental aspects, but keep in mind that if your loved one is facing issues with dementia, Alzheimer's, different forms of dementia or other mental decline, then yes, they are dealing with levels of confusion. I know for my mom, she had diabetes. She was never fully diagnosed with dementia, which I could kick myself for not pressing that issue, but her diabetes was affecting her vision. And so, my mom read her entire life and she loved reading. So as her vision declined, one of the things that had been her staple her entire life went away. She couldn't do it anymore. And I can't imagine how that made her feel, and so, as Jenna Marie says, you have to remember that based on what the physical aspects are that are happening with your loved one, that could be some of why they're being edgy. They're not necessarily a mean person. Now, to that point, if the person has been a somewhat negative, sharp, cutting, and borderline mean person their entire lives, as caregivers, we have to realize, I believe, they're not going to magically change because they're older. Now, they may settle down a little bit because they simply don't have the energy to take it out on you. But we have to remember that, you are who you are. And yes, I believe that all of us can change and we can all grow, and maybe some people evolve. But if that's the case and the person you're caring for never changes, then we have to find ways for us to cope. And whether that's compartmentalizing, whether that's journaling. I can tell you I have a stack of different journals where in the thick of some of it, I would just be writing, just pouring out the frustration and pouring out some of the anger into journals. And that's what helped me. Sometimes I would vent to other people, but then I realized they don't want to listen to me. And that's one of the reasons why I'm glad that I am building this Keeping It Real caregiving family, because sometimes, we just need to share and vent to other people who are living it and who understand. And maybe we don't have answers. Maybe we simply don't know what to do, but we just need to talk to somebody and let others know that, hey, we're in this and we're struggling emotionally. And what I told my friend, actually, the one that gave me the idea for this topic, sometimes you just have to go sit out in the car and scream. And if you feel like crying, my rule of thumb is when you feel like crying, cry, right? Because you may not have answers, and none of us may have the answers. Another item that I wanted to share with you, another good friend of mine who, ironically, I met online through a different platform, who has also been a caregiver for many years to his family members. And we finally met in person 2 years ago, which was wonderful. And he is a male family caregiver. And he said, Julia, always remember, you get to take care of your mom, not have to take care of your mom. And that little piece of advice was probably one of the most valuable nuggets that anybody has said to me. He said, when you switch your mindset and think, I get to take care of mom or dad or aunt or uncle or whoever, you start to see those moments when you're with them, even when you're frustrated and you're tired and you're overwhelmed and you think, oh my gosh, how do I get through this? You have this wonderful opportunity to get to know your loved one in a way that maybe other family members don't. And you can see them for who they are. And if you decide to be that stronger person, meet them where they're at. Love them for who they are in that moment, not what you wish they were, what you remember them being as a child. Love them for who they are in the moment. And that saved me emotionally. So let's see, we have a comment from Jaria, and I hope I said that right. The best advice that I ever received as a caregiver dealing with a loved one with dementia was, however the person was before the disease will amplify their personality. And that advice helped me prepare for my caregiving journey. Jaria, that is so powerful and so helpful, because I think anybody out there, again, if you think your person is magically going to change, who they were into who they are now, this comment, this is truth. This is truth. Who they are is who they are. And if a dementia related disease amplifies that, if they were a mean, nasty person throughout their life, guess what? That may be something you now have to cope with. And just remember that. And also remember that you're not in this alone. For any dementia-related items, I would urge all of you, and I'll put it in the chat right now. I'll actually, if you have not yet, and I will tell you that I did not know much about the Alzheimer's organization because my mom was never diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And I think I typed that right. I can barely see my own screen. I need glasses, folks. ALZ.org, Alzheimer's Association. Let me just make sure that I do, in fact, have the correct, yes, I do, www.alz.org. And I forgot the backslash. So I'm going to now put that in the chat again so that the correct item shows up. Information, guidance, tools, support groups, ways to get involved, fact sheets, information on things that you may not even understand the connections to. I urge any of you, if you even remotely are starting to see personality changes, check with your doctor and visit ALZ so that you understand some of what you should be looking for. We have another comment from Jenny Marie. There we go. I'm telling you, folks, I need my readers, right? I can't see. Yes, you get to know them in their most personal and vulnerable moments. Honored to care for mom. She is right now in last stage and transitioning. I am with you. I'm starting to tear up a little bit, and that's not it. It's for real, because I can remember the moments in those last few days that I was with my mom, and sometimes even now I still tear up when I think about sitting with her in the last 48 hours of her life, and I was with my mom when she passed, so I feel blessed for that. It was very sad to usher her to the other side, but I feel honored that I was able to do it. So, Jenny Marie, I'm glad that you're there with your mom, and bless you for doing what you do. And for those of you that are, again, just entering into caregiving, sometimes just hearing from others and knowing that we've all gone through this. If you are the primary person, um, and so for all of those moments, if your person happens to be mean to you, just remember, it one day it will be over, right? And it's like game over. Once it's over, it's over. They're not coming back. They're gone. And so that was the other thing that really helped me, is to remember that even in those moments when I thought, can't believe she said that to me, or, said something passive aggressive or something kind of snide. And oh, I've got stories. Love my mom. If you read the newsletter, keeping it real caregiving.bulletin.com, you'll read some of the stories about my mother, Miss Nellie. And I love her. I miss her. But she could have some moments. I'll tell you what, she could be a feisty little old lady. And it makes me laugh, but I also think that's what would stop me from really getting angry. I would get angry at the situation, never angry at her, even when she was saying something kind of, and I will share with you one of the one of the other things she said to me. This was years ago, also in South Florida, and many, many years ago. And at the time, the person that I was dating had to take a trip to the Caribbean for a special work project. And there happened to be a big storm coming in that was maybe forming to be a hurricane. So I was kind of worried that they were going to be flying on a small private plane. And I said that to my mom, and she said, well, I could care less if his plane goes down. You won't be on it. And she said it just like that. You had to know my mom. And I just, to this day, I remember that. And I thought, oh my God, how mean is that? I'm like, Mom, do you think about how that would make me feel if something bad happened? But that's just who she was. So, right, that could have been an indication that as she got older and now she's on medication, she's tired and she doesn't feel well, all these things are going to play a role. So just think about where your person is now and love them the most you can. And I want to pop up another comment. And Jenny Marie says, they want me to say it's okay to leave, but it's so hard to say those words. It is. It is. And again, I'm so glad that you're here in this session this morning, because sometimes to say this sort of comment to people who aren't in it, they think, oh, how could you even remotely think of saying that? I said those words, and I did. It was, my mom had physically declined. Mentally, she was still okay, but her little body had just given up on her, right? And so it had become to the place where every day was a struggle just to live, to eat. She needed full two-person assist to do everything, right? And at that point, she knew it was time, and I knew it was time. And I remember saying to her, I said, Mom, don't worry about anything. Our other family members, I'll look out for them. I'll keep an eye on them. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about me. I'm going to be fine. And I said, here's what I want you to do, Mom. I said, I want you to close your eyes and take a big leap of faith and just pretend that you're just running and jumping into the future. I said, get to the other side, go find Dad. He's waiting for you. And know that everybody on this side is going to be fine. And she just squeezed my hand, because at that point there was not a lot of talking she could do anymore. And that made me feel better, to just say, it's time for us to let you go, and it's time for you to trust that whatever is waiting for you out there is okay. So I'm getting teary again, because quite frankly, I don't talk about this a lot. I haven't really talked about those last moments with my mom. So Jaria says, Julia, you are so right. We have to love them where they are and not where we want them to be. Exactly. If we try to love them in our vision of who we think they are, it may make us crazy, right? They are who they are, right? And at this stage, we shouldn't put anything else on them of pressure of what we want them to be. Just love them. Let them be who they are, right? Because the time is precious of what we have left. Um, so yeah, this is great. And like I promised that we would keep this short this morning because I know how busy it is. And Jaria, thank you for saying that you love the show. I'm a couple of quick things. I have 4 minutes because I am being cognizant of everybody's time, and you need to get back to your Sunday mornings. Um, a few things. If you are in the Northern California area, in Butte County, Glenn County, maybe even Shasta County, I'm going to pop up this other screenshot and I'm going to put it full. There is an event coming up on August 24th here in Chico in Butte County. It is the Aging with Grace Healthy Resources event. And you see there, free breakfast and lunch will be provided. And I will be joining this team for a short presentation in the morning as well. I don't know the exact time of my presentation, but this event is from 8 to 1. If you are in the Northern California, Butte County region, I urge you to go ahead and call and RSVP for this event. The number is 530-487-7061. So I know a few of you on this call are from this region. Co-sponsored by Passages, KIXE, which is the PBS station. And I think it'll be very helpful just to hear from different agencies in the region. And then also for those of you in other places, be sure that you understand how to contact your local area agency on aging. So here in Butte County, our area agency on aging is Passages. I'm going to type that in the chat. Area agency on aging. Okay, so each state and each county has a division of an area agency on aging. All right, so wherever you live, go type in online, your state's area agency on aging. You should find your main webpage that'll loop you into then individual counties so you can find out which services and programs and maybe support sessions, educational sessions are available in your area. So I wanted to share that with you. And I'm looking through our chats. Keisha says, thank you for sharing. We are in year 8 of dementia. It's the hardest journey of my life. And Keisha, be sure that you are taking care of you within taking care of your loved one. Reach out if you have not already to alz.org, depending on where you're at, even if it's once a week support sessions. Double check if there are any other services that could provide you some respite, and trust that even if you have somebody else helping you for an hour, that you deserve that hour break free to take care of yourself. And Sheila, thank you for giving Keisha the extra support as well. She says, hang in there. It's been 21 years for me. And Sheila, kudos to you. That is a long, long time. And that's your life as well. And one of the things that I know I struggled with was, I felt like my life was getting pushed to the wayside while I was caring for mom. But then I thought, you know what, in the overall scheme of things, it was pretty short. For me, 21 years is a long time. So I do hope that you have other family or friends that you can reach out to and create that care circle. And I will say this to anybody else out there. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. So you can't turn around and sue me for saying these things. These are all suggestions. Just understand that we cannot make ourselves martyrs at the same time that we're caring for our loved one. We owe it to ourselves to ask our family members, if we have other family or friends in the area, to say, hey, I need help. Don't feel that you have to be superwoman or superman. Ask for help. Let people know. Let people in your care circle know. Let your employer know if you're even able to still work. And I have a couple of articles on that in the newsletter. If you have not yet, you see it here scrolling on the screen, but if you have not yet subscribed to the newsletter, please do. keepingitrealcaregiving.bulletin.com. I'm going to put that into the chat as well for you so that you have that. And, I try to just write about different topics and also provide different resources. Go back through, scroll through some of the previous articles. We have a lot of information about services, things to think about, ways to seek out respite, a lot of online courses that you can take, or just online group sessions that are sponsored by AARP, the National Council on Aging, various area agencies on aging. So take a few minutes, go to the newsletter and take a look. I'll also share with you the URL to the Keeping It Real Caregiving website, which I actually am in the process of adding some more content this weekend, because there's so much that happens and changes within this. So my computer is going slow now. So I'm not going to put that URL in there for you. So if you're in Butte County, check out this event. You've had time to write down the number. And I want to, one other item. Okay, so I'm going to pop this down. Let's see, remove. There we go. I love this platform. And Jen Marie says, in asking for help from me, COVID-19 robbed me of that. No one could or would help. Plus, unvaccinated family made it hard. You have a point there. And in that case, what can you do? You don't want somebody who's not vaccinated around your elder because they're that much more at risk. And so don't let that stop you now, though. Depending on what state you are in, Jenny Marie, please reach out to your local area agency on aging and find out what other programs are available. Find out even if there's a short amount of respite that you could get a little bit of help. That's key, because without that, we just, we kind of start to fall into this quagmire of being all by ourselves. So please do that. And then one final thing, I'm 3 minutes over, so I promise we're going to wrap up. In the newsletter, I talk a lot about how California has the master plan for aging. And I'm very proud to be in California because of the master plan for aging. I'm part of the Equity and Aging Advisory Committee as part of that group. And so I see myself as there's a lot of large organizations at the state level, and then there are mid-level agencies. And then I try to take a lot of that, correlate it or curate it, and push it out to all of us. So I did miss this recently in the news. I like to say, in case you missed it. Well, Maine, the state of Maine, the governor has created a cabinet on aging to prepare for changes in demographics. So kudos to Portland, Maine. This is a little bit of news wire copy, so I'm going to go into my news mode. I'm just going to read you a little bit of this. The governor of the oldest state in the nation created a cabinet on aging with a hope of preparing for demographic changes that will impact healthcare and the workforce. Maine has the nation's oldest median age, which I did not know that. Democratic Governor Janet Mills said that means tens of thousands of residents will retire in the coming years in that state. The cabinet will meet at least 4 times every year beginning next month. Services will include the commissioners of several state departments, including the Maine Department of Health and Human Services. And so kudos to the state of Maine, because increasingly we are seeing that our population is aging. We are becoming older. We are becoming grayer. And if we do not tackle these issues, the type of topics that we're talking about here will continue to overwhelm us. And so let me take this one last comment, and then I'll wrap up and let all of you get back to your morning. Keisha says family members don't want to be bothered. The person caring for the loved one is the one doing all the caregiving. I was never sick before this season. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia in March 2021, but I keep caring for mom and I work full time overnight. I will stay tuned and check out the website. Keisha, please direct message me. Tell me what state you're in, or just pop what state you're in right now, and then I'll be able to pull up your. I can pull up your information in the feed later. And kudos to you for not giving up and caring for your loved one. The other thing too, if family members just refuse, let them go, right? Because then you do not have the time and energy to be angry at them. You need your energy for you and the person you're caring for. I always say to people, ask again, demand. And if nobody wants to be bothered, then in that case, you say, okay, you know what? I have to tackle this. But also keep in mind, maybe they don't want to do the hands-on care. Perhaps they could help you with something of saying, hey, can you send $50 a month so that I can maybe hire respite? Maybe ask them if they could make phone calls for you. Maybe they would be willing to go grocery shopping for you. Think outside the box. Think of how you can make that care circle. And again, then if they still say we want nothing to do with it, make peace with it and create your own care circle. And our last comment, so glad you're representing California. I'm in Southern California if you need anything. Wonderful. Depending on where you're at in Southern California, I want you to know that the USC Family Care Center offers amazing programming. Much of it is free. Much of it is online. I try to share a lot of that in the newsletter. So everybody, please check that out. All right, we're 7 minutes over. So we're going to wrap this up. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it that all of you are scattered around the country, and feedback is welcome. If there are topics that you would like to hear about or have me dig out interviews or look up information, please drop those comments into the newsletter discussion box. Drop those comments into my Facebook feed. I'm a one-person show right now with Keeping It Real Caregiving. And I have a full-time job as a communications consultant. Just returned from Vegas for a week convention and then got home yesterday and online doing this today. So it's a lot, but I believe that it's important. And so I want to hear from all of you. If I can help, give me feedback. Tell me what works. Tell me what doesn't work. Tell me what you'd like to see more of or not anything at all. It would be great. And if you have personal stories that you would like to share, we do that as well. I'm always looking for guest essayists to share within the newsletter. And I will wrap this up by saying, and this is key, please let me hear from you as to what you might want to hear from media outlets. Why? A good friend of mine who is very high up the food chain at one of the main networks reads the Keeping It Real Caregiving.bulletin.com newsletter. I saw him this week at the conference and he said, I really like what you're doing with Keeping It Real Caregiving, and it teaches me a lot. I forward it to my sisters all the time, and we are learning the things we need to know about how we take care of our grandmother and what we need to be ready for. That made my heart sing. But it also that there are those who are reading, and I don't know they're reading, and I'm not hearing from them, but let me hear from all of you as to what information and stories and focus would be helpful for you for us to have more mainstream media focusing on these issues. I'm a journalist, and I got to tell you, sometimes I have to dig to find a lot of this information to then share with everybody else. So let me hear what would be helpful for you, and I want to make sure to pass it on to that person. He is very high up on the food chain, and he has a wonderful heart, and he's amazing. And Keisha, you're in Memphis. I have clients in Memphis. There could be a story that I pass along to some of them and say, hey, you might want to check this out. So drop into the chat what you think would be helpful for mainstream media to cover more of within this caregiving space. All right. With that, I'm I'm going to let you all go. I'm going to get on to having a little bit more coffee myself this morning. I have house cleaning to do after being gone all week, so that's what I'll be doing this Sunday. I wish all of you a good Sunday, a good week ahead. Please take care of yourselves if you're a family caregiver. Do not be a martyr. Do what's right, but take care of you as well. And like I said in the newsletter, when you think about somebody being mean to you, watch that movie Mean Girls again. If nothing else, it'll make you laugh and it'll take some of the edge off. All right, everybody, that is going to wrap it up for this edition of Sunday Coffee Chat, the Keeping It Real Caregiving. If you have not yet done so, please subscribe to the newsletter, keepingitrealcaregiving.bulletin.com. You can also follow us or touch base on the website at keepingitrealcaregiving.com. You can follow me on Facebook and on LinkedIn and on Twitter. I forgot to pop up the screen that would show all of my information, and it'll take too long for me to find that, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, that's it. All right, everybody, have a great day. Thank you so much for being part of this, and take care of yourselves. Have a great day. Bye-bye.